Okay, we're live for another edition of the Dugout. It is World Cup on, and we talk enough about the Indian team. They've been flying high, doing very well. How do you stop this Indian team? That's another debate we'll have for another day. Because today, something that caught our attention was what happened in that game between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. It's divided the cricket world. It's the hottest trending topic on social media. It's episode number 6 or 7 in the Bangladesh Sri Lanka rivalry. The controversies that they've had in the short history of cricket that they've played. Every time there is a contest between Bangladesh Sri Lanka, expect fireworks to happen, and true to those expectations, we've seen something happen today as well, and we'll debate that. Just to let you in on what really happened, Angelo Mathews actually walked out to bat. And he was getting ready. He was about to strap on his helmet, pull the strap down, and it snapped. And then he asked for a change of helmet. When the change of helmet arrived, there was obviously beyond the 2 minutes that are specified. Remember, it used to be 3 minutes at one point. The time gap between the last batter having faced a ball and the next batter having faced the next ball. That was 3 minutes earlier. It's now come down to 2 minutes. So that 2 minutes had been exceeded. The opposition captain in Shakib appealed, and the umpire just followed the rule, the norm, and following the rule, he gave Angelo Mathews out. Angelo actually went to Shakib, requested him, please take the appeal back if you can. He chose not to do it, and Angelo Mathews walked out. So spirit of cricket is another thing that is being debated on. Rajdeep has been very active on the platform called X with his opinion. So I'll allow Rajdeep the first word.
Now I'm livid. It's not about spirit of cricket. It's about common sense. I can understand if you are sitting in the pavilion and you've come in late, and you have every right then to say that, sorry, you may have been changing, you may have been in the shower, whatever the reason, you've come late. The rule is very clear. You've got to take your guard within a certain minute. There are two rules. One is 2 minutes, one is 3 minutes. The MCC rule, if I'm not mistaken, is 3, and the World Cup rule is 2 minutes.
Yes, it was it also was 3, but last September got changed.
Whatever, it's 3-2. Yeah. You're in the pavilion. You've taken your own sweet time. You've lost your way through the dressing room. No excuse. You're a professional. You should be timed out. Here, what happened, Nikhil, which is what has angered me, the player has come on the field. He is not trying to take any unfair advantage. He is trying to get ready and finds that his strap has broken, which is an equipment malfunction, which can happen to anyone. He's looking to strap it, it's broken. He calls for another helmet. That is going to take some time. The umpire should have shown common sense and, put a pause to the game, saying, okay, till he gets his helmet, we are putting a pause. What's the word? Timeout or whatever you want?
Timed out, yes.
Yeah, you want to call, the umpires call a timeout like they do in football. For example, if someone is seriously injured, call a timeout. Your clock will start from the moment he takes his guard again. Look at the ridiculousness. Here you're looking to have safety in the sport at all levels. Someone's helmet has come out. I know that the bowler was a spin bowler, but that's no excuse. The fact is, you've got a helmet on for a particular reason. And if there is an equipment malfunction, jolly well, the bloody umpires, 2 guys who are paid good money, 122 matches, I even saw Erasmus, 88 matches that Illingworth, disgrace. They are a disgrace, and Shakib, spotty record, bloody disgrace. The man's handling of the Bangladesh team, one of the reasons why Bangladesh is where it is because of people like Shakib Bigger than the game, third rater, absolutely. I'm sorry to use these words. If there are Bangladesh fans out there, you should be ashamed of what he did. It's common sense, Nikhil. He could have withdrawn the appeal. Erasmus should have put enough pressure on him to withdraw the appeal, saying, or Erasmus and Illingworth should have stepped in. What the hell are they doing? As it is, there's a huge question mark over why do we need umpires anymore if DRS is playing all the, is virtually taking over from umpires. Umpires are needed specifically for this situation to show some damn common sense. And therefore, I unfortunately still am a romantic of the sport. I keep trying to switch off. And I was watching the game when it happened. And I saw this happening. And I was just wondering, what the bloody hell? I can understand this happening on the Maidans of Mumbai. And there also there would be a brawl, let me tell you, if this happened. But This is an international. You've got guys who, I mean, Shakib is a great player. He's a great player, but he's been a disgrace when it's come to his spirit. He's been tied up with match fixing in the past. Serious accusations have been made. He's got away with it. And today was another low in his career. And I'm sorry. I'm not going to give any age. People are saying, I read somewhere, Angelo Mathews should have known, he's a senior. What is he to know? He's got a bloody his helmet strap has come out. Okay, he could have told Erasmus, and Erasmus can see it, for God's sake. Yeah. It's not, if he had taken any unfair advantage. You tell me now, if this happens in a World Cup final, God forbid, and India was at the receiving end, then I would love to see what would happen.
No,
I can't see another side to this. Sorry.
No, I agree, and I would go so far as to say that in the day and age that we live in, where you've become very sensitive to head injuries, where you now have a concussion substitute, you've gone that far. That for a lot of people sometimes is unfair, because a fielder or a player goes out, and sometimes you get undue advantage because the player that comes in is much better in a certain occasion, or is even a better batter. You allow that leeway because we are sensitive to the fact that a head injury could be very serious. A career of a player is dependent on that. His life is dependent on that. When that is the situation, how is it? In fact, I'll go so far as to say that even if it was not a question of timed out, even if the opposition captain appeals or not, the umpire, this rule should override every other rule. That if the helmet of a player is malfunctioned or is faulty for whatever reason, even the player has not noticed it, the umpire notices, the umpire should stop the game. Whether it's 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, the umpire should come in and say, no boss, I'm not allowing him to face another ball. Even if it's gone past 2 minutes, you, the opposition captain in Shakib, take a chill pill. You can cry as much as you want. This is important. I can't have this batter get hit on the head because of a faulty helmet and then have serious repercussions, because we knew what happened with Phil Hughes and the aftermath of that. Imagine if Angelo Mathews, I'll just give you an example. Like, I'm a biker, right? I ride bikes which at certain points are dangerous. We do not allow anybody who's not wearing a proper equipment, especially a helmet, which is a certified helmet, to even ride with us, because that's dangerous. It can cost a person his life. And so I'm very sensitive to these matters, and I in fact would go to another extent. An umpire should actually tell everyone, stop it. I would allow 3 more minutes, get his helmet fixed. Even if Angelo had said, no, I'll continue to bat, he would have said, no, you have to get a better helmet. Wear a proper helmet, only then will I allow you to bat. And this is what something should be done. There should be a rule for this.
Is there another side at all? Is there another side?
There is a side which could say that, again, it has happened in the past in the shoe.
I'm just trying to understand the other side.
I am. So I'll tell you the other side is, for example, that follow the rule. The ones that stick by the rule book, no matter what the situation. Okay, who are sticklers for what's actually printed, and because there is no leeway for this sort of arrangement, because it does not mention in the rule that if your equipment malfunction, so you're allowed that extra time. The people who are stickler for the rule, they could very well be right in saying, no, if it's in the rule, bad luck, the strap came off. Bad luck, the strap came off. Sorry, if you follow the rule. For example, I'll give you another incident that happened. I remember Inzamamul Haq, India game. So I remember Inzamamul Haq was given out obstructing the ball. Yeah. And obstructing the ball only exists when you're trying to take unfair advantage, as in, you're trying to stop a run out or something like that. In that case, I remember Suresh Raina was the fielder. He threw the ball, and I think it was coming at his body. So he just defended it. It was coming at his body. And the Indian team appealed. And Inzamam, not trying to take any advantage of that situation, was given out. And that also invoked the spirit of cricket game, where Inzi at that situation not trying to take advantage. Because now Indian team and MS Dhoni was captain, they did it, there wasn't any hue and cry.
I think the key words are unfair advantage. When Ashwin's incident happened famously with Butler, I think in the IPL. My first reaction was to be with the batsman. Maybe because I'm whatever little cricket I played was as a batsman. I thought, you can give a warning to a batsman before you Mankad at him, as the word was used then, unfair, given that we know Mankad is one of India's greatest cricketers. But then on hindsight, when I look back at Ashwin's explanation, that's why I said it's important to have the other side. I could see what he was saying, because he was suggesting that in that match, by doing what he was, Butler was taking an unfair advantage. Here, there was absolutely no unfair advantage being taken. It wasn't as if the match was in some critical stage where they wanted to take extra time, so maybe they got a few more, the last 2 overs, Bangladesh wouldn't have enough time to bowl them, and therefore you would have to have extra fielders inside the ring. None of that. This was pure and simple equipment malfunction. It is a situation which called for common sense, not for a rule book is there, but a rule book also surely has to have some space for common sense. I'm sorry. Enough of this rule.
Are you saying it because it is a Bangladesh captain who's in it? So I take you back to that MS Dhoni incident where Inzamam is not taking any advantage. He's given obstructing the field out because the ball's been thrown at his body and he's not out of the crease. I think he's just saving because it's coming there. And the Indian team appeal was given obstructing the field out. Would you also be critical of MS Dhoni and his team?
Of course. I think I'm very now clear. If there is unfair advantage being taken, please throw the rule book. But a rule book must necessarily have some space for common sense. I mean, I know that these are high pressure games. You've got a Champions Trophy qualification at stake. What you mentioned, the history of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Forget all that. The great Bishan Singh Bedi passed away a couple of weeks ago, and he used to always say, it's not cricket. There's a reason why it's called it's not cricket, because this is a game which had certain foundational principles. You want to throw them all out of the window, good luck to you. Please do it. I mean, I know that the sport has become uglier by the day in terms of people's recklessness with rules or using the rules the way when it suits them. But I'm old-fashioned about it, and I'm glad to be old-fashioned. I'm not conservative, but I'm old-fashioned about it, and I believe this has to stop. This is where the umpires have singularly failed the game. Most of these bloody buggers have never played the game at a high level also. I know Erasmus played some cricket, I'm told. Illingworth, I know, was played for England. I mean, I want to ask all these buggers, if they were in the same situation, what would they say? You see, that's my test. All very well to sit on the outside on social media. What if Erasmus or Illingworth was in that situation? What would they have done?
It just reminds me of an incident, by the way, of cricketing. It was about 3 weeks back when Mujibur Rahman, I remember, had forgotten to put on his box. So, was that made an issue out of? No, because you understand how important an equipment that is. I think it was against Australia. In fact, when the Australian fielders only passed the box on to him, again, you didn't make anything out of it because you realized that that's an important equipment.
You're absolutely right. Of course, speaking of not having a box on when you go in, famously, apparently, so goes the story that Salim Durrani once went to play Hall and Griffith, and this was Hall and Stayers Griffith, 1962, in the West Indies, where India was thrashed 5-0, went and played the first 30 minutes without the box, he'd forgotten it. And he was later reminded and said, what would have happened? He said, नहीं यार, मेरा तो वो तो सब कुछ ठीक है, ऊपर क्या कुछ नहीं है, नीचे के बारे में बात नहीं करेंगे. But look.
No, I want to ask one question, Rajiv, before you go. Now, which is an interesting, because you're saying what are the other sides?
Is somebody sending another side?
No. Lot of opinions on that. People replying to once I put a tweet out. One very interesting thing is that you got to also go to the genesis of this rule. Why is this rule there? It is primarily there to ensure that there's continuity. There isn't that much gap given between the game. And I agree, now in the day and age of where you got advertising, where you are trying to see ways of increasing the pace of the game, this rule needs to be there. So I have no issue with the rule, it should be there. But the valid question a lot of people are asking, that if you're so strict with this timeout rule and you're following the rule to the T, what about batters asking for water after every over, or sometimes taking off their pads saying, oh, this has come undone, so I want to wear them again, and changing a shirt or various other things that they do. What about that? Why
Excellent point, Nikhil. Being an old cricket follower, look at the innings that Gavaskar would play in extreme heat. Every 10 minutes, no one would be running to provide him a towel to wash his face. Now, every 5 minutes, between overs, every over, that's all allowed. All kinds of things are going on where virtually the sport seems to have the substitutes. Only role seems to be between overs to carry this water, carry some energy. Some fast bowler is on the boundary line. Somebody is providing him. None of this used to happen. The game used to go on. And that's why you got 90 overs in on most days, even in India, in the most oppressive heat. Now you don't do that. There I don't see the umpires making a shindig. You bloody well made a shindig for someone's equipment malfunction of the helmet. In an era where Phil Hughes has died a few years ago, where in extremely tragic circumstances, I believe Erasmus and Illingworth and Shakib all should face a ban. I'm sorry, they should all, or at least have an explanation. If their explanation is not good enough, there must be some action taken, particularly against this bloody Shakib. Man is a disgrace. And Erasmus and Illingworth have failed the game. I'm sorry.
That's very interesting. Very recently, David Warner came up with a suggestion. Maybe that's what they want to do. He's saying you should actually come up with stats of the umpires also on the screen. Where he said that every time you show a batter's failures, maybe and then you should have 3 bullet points as to the 3 controversial decisions that they've taken in the past. Was the umpire when Erasmus comes out? Was the umpire when Angelo Mathews was given timed out?
Okay, one final point. Are we heading for like the US Open? Where you don't even have linesman anymore. Everything's electronic. You just have the referee, who actually his only role is to ensure that the sport is played within the traditions, really. And there was that interesting, and again for some reason I was watching it late night when Djokovic, remember, hit the ball seemingly in anger, and it hit that linesman. And he was banned. He was banned. And now again you could argue within the rules, but I don't think Djokovic did it with intent.
Yeah,
right?
It wasn't.
And I think again there was an absence of common sense. You see, you can throw a rule book at anyone, and I think it diminishes sport when you throw it at the wrong time. You throw the rule book at someone who you know is deliberately violating the rules or has tried to take unfair advantage. Please go ahead and throw the rule book. I don't think Angelo Mathews was doing either, and therefore I think what happened today was unfortunate. And I hope it doesn't happen again on the cricket field. On that note, I'm going to go and talk to my politicians.
I know. I was going to take
which is not exactly
not as much fun as this.
People who never play by the rules. Bye, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. I hope that stirs it up.
Yep. But we'll also like to take your comments, and I think one very interesting point that Rajdeep made is there another side? I mean, I can't side with the umpire or the players.
I can.
You can?
I can.
So I would love to. Why did you not speak earlier?
I don't want him to yell at me. You see the mood he was in. I thought you throw the trophy. Like 100%. No. I'm waiting.
Roby, you should see. No.
I've already
from Shashwat. I've told him.
No. So I asked. So fair enough. I get all these points. All well and good. But then again, if a rule book doesn't.
Fan?
I would
just want to know just before he puts his point.
See, I'm a fan of the player, but his antics, less said the better. He can be a little on the other side, and this I'll say was more sly than anything else, because he knew there's no advantage being gained here, but rule hai, why not go and appeal to the umpire? And see, where he was so clever, this is not one of the things where the umpire has any discretion. The umpire has no discretion here.
No, but I'm saying again, he wouldn't have had the discussion, which is the point that we made. Okay, let's play by that logic. Let's stick to rules. Forget emotions. Forget spirit of the cricket. Okay, I'm with you on that, right? So let's follow, and that's an argument a lot of people put forward when the Ashwin thing was happening.
Yeah.
That forget everything, but Ashwin is right because following the rule book to the T. This is what is written, follow it, you like it, dislike it, take it up with the ICC, next meeting, fix it. Okay, but let's take that logic. What has changed here is, more often than not, what usually happens is the batter does take time to get onto the field. And then, by the time he reaches the crease, then you take, I'll tell you what happens in domestic cricket. I'll just give you an idea. In domestic cricket, because sometimes they're not really timing it. And even in club cricket, when I've played, what they usually do is ensure, and that's just as a guiding principle, not really 100% accurate. What you need to do is ensure that the two batters cross. So by the time, and let's say if I'm the batter who's batting and I'm out, sometimes the team tells you also, walk slowly when you're walking, especially when the other batter is not ready. So the thumb rule there is, if the two batters cross on the playing field, it's fine. If one batter is gone and there's no sign of the other batter being on the field, sometime in local club matches and all, the umpire can then give you timed out. That okay, he's taken time. So what you do is, sometimes if the batter, let's say 2-3 wickets have fallen quickly, and I'm being part of some of those club games, we know. So what we do is scream out, telling that guy, walk slow, take your time, because this guy is getting ready, so that he's not timed out, and then he'll run across the field and then they cross and it seems all right. So that's the rule. So I'm saying in this case, had that been the situation that he walked in, he took a long time, there's no sign of him, everyone's waiting on the field, where's Angelo Mathews, because he's on the phone talking to his friend or whatever. I don't, phones are not allowed now in the dressing room, whatever, he's gone to the loo, he's taking a shower, then if you're following the rule book, I'd understand. But what had happened, he had walked in, he stood at the crease, if you see that footage clearly, when he pulls that thing, it breaks. So what do you expect him to do? If I'm a batter, and recently we played a match where one of our teammates got hit. And so now I know that he was playing the ball, got hit, got stitches. We saw blood on the pitch. So I am pretty sensitive to that. So if his thing broke and he wants to be safe, then why pull the rule? That's why I'm saying common sense where the umpire says, yes, I know there's a rule, but hello, this thing is broken. Okay, other thing. Because when I put the tweet, a lot of people said, then why did he walk out with a faulty equipment? I would have still not taken that into account had he walked out with a faulty thing. But if you notice,
he pulled and it broke.
Correct. It can happen to anybody.
And how do you preempt such a thing? How do you know that your equipment is faulty? Like, if that's the thing, you would not walk out with that equipment, right? It's there for everyone to see. All the 11 players plus the 2 batters over there plus the 2 umpires, everyone saw it. It's a genuine attempt at just trying to tighten the helmet and it snaps. What do you do?
Now,
but still, no, I get all this. Then make a provision within the rules. Why are we so
we're waiting for that one asterisk to be added.
You know, but come on, are you trying to tell me that in a sport like cricket, which has umpteen rules, to the point where I'm pretty sure none of us sitting here would be able to quote all, or at least even half of them, far too many rules, we haven't had this much common sense to figure this part out. I'm sorry, I think you could have figured this out.
But because Shane, it never happened before. So it could have been a play, that's what I'm saying. It could have been a case of either timed out or not timed out, which means either a delay on the batter's part to reach there or not. But this, for the very first time, is something out of the box where that is reached there and then it's broken and he's asked for a change of helmet.
That's also because more often than not, I've noticed, and this is a point which Rajdeep made, is that they're a little too lax with time sometimes. And it's not just here. You'll see more often than not, as he mentioned, of course, the thing where, we'll run onto the field with a towel and you'll be changing pads, changing bats, even when you don't need to. That's also gamesmanship. We've accepted that. This is still within the rules.
No, so I'm saying that's wrong. I'm blaming that. When that is happening, I'm in no way supporting that. In fact, we pointed that out, that is also something that needs to be read out of the sport. So I'm not supporting it. All I'm saying is that in case of, let's say, gamesmanship also, when you're dealing, you're coming out to bat. Even then, let's say in this case, and Angelo Mathews took extra time to walk out for whatever then by all means I would have supported it. I know that even then, assuming it wasn't the case of helmet, he came out to bat,
there would have still been a storm.
There would have been division in terms of opinion. I'm still 100% sure if he had just walked out to bat, got timed out because he was late, whatever, and Bangladesh chose to appeal and he was given, even then there would have been a storm. Then it would have been spirit of cricket versus rules. But right now what I'm saying is, it's of course not in the spirit of cricket, but even if I have to go the full rules way, even there it's not well within the rules.
Yeah, but that's where the rule is a little kind of...
But that's what I'm saying, because it does not mention either things. Like it does not mention come what may, rain or shine, hail or storm, you have to.
But I think, again, all sports do really have these grey areas, right? There is grey areas that exist, and those grey areas you can either choose to exploit or you can choose not to.
What would you do if you're the umpire?
I wouldn't have a choice. You would have to take the appeal into consideration.
I would, but I would tell the...
Yeah, I would. And I'm pretty sure the umpire did.
I'll give you an example. So I'm not going so... And you remember, at the end of the day, it's umpire's call. He can take certain decisions. So you're empowering him. He's following the rules. And you're right that certain things, when they are grey areas, then they are open to interpretation. So then you leave it to the discretion of the umpire, right? Whatever he thinks. Then I'm trying to understand what is it that the umpire saw. Like if I was in the umpire's place and I saw what was happening, I would, for two reasons. One, I knew that he wasn't wasting time deliberately. He didn't take time. That I would have given him that benefit of the... Two, as I said, I would also be extra sensitive about his safety.
Correct.
In fact, if it was the other way around, let's say Matthew came, pulled that helmet strap, it broke. He took it out and threw it and was ready to bat. If I was the umpire, I'd actually go to him saying, no boss, You're not playing. You're not playing. I want you to wear a proper helmet.
And
I
that
want you
should be
wear a
added to the
helmet.
rule.
I often
The only reason he may not have done that, umpire, is because the spinner was bowling.
Yeah.
And I know that the batter decides that whether he wants to, because there are batters that play in the cap. But I'm saying this is a batter that by wearing the helmet to a spinner has shown that he chooses to wear the helmet. Had he come out with a cap, had he come out with a cap and then saying bring on a helmet, even there
That's
I would
time
blame
waste.
the batter. But he came out with a helmet, which is to say that he feels comfortable wearing the helmet against a spinner, which is nothing wrong, because we know sometimes it's not the pace of the spin ball that hits you. It's actually, if you're trying to, let's say, play a sweep, the ball hits the bat and hits you. That's also pretty dangerous. And we've seen wicket keepers in the past, both of them seriously injured, Sabah Karim, Boucher, both off spinners.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is not to say that a spinner cannot be dangerous, especially if it's not a direct hit, but if it hits the bat also. So if he's choosing to wear a helmet, you should allow him that right.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think unfortunately, again, as I said, in this case, the rule was such that the discretion falls entirely on the fielding captain.
What would you do is what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying
No, it's up to the umpire.
even
If I was the umpire, I'd say, Shakib, relax. His helmet has broken. He's going to get hurt. I allow him that much time together.
And I know everyone knew about the rule book. Everyone over there knew what the rule says. But
Especially Shakib.
especially Shakib, of course, you know, you can say whatever good thinking on the feet or sharp thinking on the feet or very prompt on the button, whatever you want to say. Maybe for another day though. Right now here, you got to realize the fact that there's a rule book. It's left up. It's been made by humans for human interpretation. Now, basis human interpretation, I'm saying, you know what the rule is. He's not exactly breaking the rule over here. That's where the interpretation comes in.
Exactly. That's what I said. You have to look at the... I just want to know one other thing. Since you're a Shakib fan. Does he... I mean, I don't know. I'm sure Shakib knows what he's doing. He's a sharp guy.
100%.
Yeah. So, and because he's had this history as well, is it instinctive or does he know what he's doing and he kind of enjoys this as well?
I mean, this is the same guy who called his batters back, saying that no, the no ball has not been given, this is unfair.
Okay, that was bad, I agree.
No,
but I'm saying that could still be heat of the moment, right? When you're angry, you could do strange things. Even if I look at that kicking of stump, I'm not justifying it. That's absolutely wrong. And he was fined for it and, you know, suspended or whatever. Absolutely right. Not the kind of model behavior that you want. But I'm taking them as heat of the moment, cricketing, you know, reactions that happen when you're playing a match to win. This one, you're not angry because nothing's wrong's happened to you. You're like much calmer. There's no, you know, verbals that are happening, nothing as such. And then you're asked, so you're pretty much in cool, calm, your senses, and you have to say, no, I want to win. Is there that side to him which kind of enjoys being the batsman?
Kind of. So I'll give you an example. At one point when Mathews was talking to the umpire, very animated, he actually went to Shakib. And you know what Shakib's reaction was? Shakib's reaction was... So he knew what he was doing. And not a coincidence, by the way, that he does this to the man who Harshit and I were saying, this guy could be the key batter today. Probably their best middle order bat. Gets him out without getting to face the ball. I mean, it's dark arts, sure, but I do, and again, this is maybe just me, maybe it's the football fan in me. I grew up on Jose Mourinho football, that I always appreciate a little bit of dark arts kind of thing. I know a lot of, like another example nowadays, a lot of people don't like Diego Simeone. Love his style of football at times, because it's anti, it's not pressing, it's not this, that, it's ugly, but it gets results. Same thing here. I'm okay with it for that reason also. I do appreciate a little bit of gamesmanship. So I'm fine with it, and his gamesmanship that technically is within the rules. Technically. So I'm okay with it.
These are things that will, you know, be spots on his career.
He's had so many, at this point it doesn't matter.
But this one, as I said, those are still, you know, say that he was passionate, wore his heart on the sleeve, so all of that. This is
the smartest thing he's ever done.
But then also how you view a player, it also matters. As I said, I remember that incident of Inzamam, and I thought that was also unnecessary. You didn't have to appeal. He was like obstructing the ball, and because we are Indians in that sense, we're not going to be that critical, or just inherently not critical. But now if I see it objectively, that was unnecessary.
See, I don't think we would have had a problem even back then when Graham Smith showed a big heart 2007 and Ganguly was 6 minutes late or something, still chose to, you know, not enforce that rule.
But there's the context was much bigger.
But even then I'm saying he would have been in the right to do that.
Of course he would have been in the right.
Right now, there's no basis. when the batter's there, the batter is very much there. What? There is no unfair
Let's see
advantage.
if we
There is no
can-
breaking of the law.
Let's see if
Technically, it was the rule.
there are other opinions that sometimes that kind of perspective that helps you look at incident very differently. But only if Shivam allows us will we be able to do that. He is allowing us finally. No, he's not allowing us.
He wants us to
Let's see the
something.
comments.
Okay. Let's take them one by one.
Ashish Dhar, obviously winning the
Fastest finger
first, as always. He says that ICC needs to relook the rule book. There is no place for spirit of the game in competitive sports, he says. Okay. Imagine if Angelo had to face a pace bowler. Angelo was not at fault. Rules need to be amended.
That last line I agree with.
Yeah.
The rule as it is not good enough.
As I said, the one rule that has to come in, no addition to timeout rule. Leave the timeout rule the way it is. One law that just needs to come in, which will fix everything, that if there is an issue with the protective gear that a player wears, whether it's his box or even arm guard, whatever, helmet to even more so, because that's quite dangerous. If there is a fault to it that has occurred while he is there and there's an issue with that, then you should allow some sort of leeway for that to be replaced, because then that is dangerous. That can hurt his career. That can that's a matter of life and death on certain occasion. If not that, at least it could end lot of careers. One blow to the head. So that needs to come in, and that will take care of all other areas where rule might say the person is out, but if it has something to do with the protective gear that the player wears, then it can sort those.
I'm just thinking now, if you want to be making exceptions now, just to broaden things more and make it absolutely clear. I'm just thinking of scenarios. What if, let's say, the batter is walking out to bat, and then there is some sort of a racist slur or some sort of a chant directed towards it, which is very personal. Let's say, with the fan sort of saying something like that, and that's what takes some of the time of the batter, because at times things can be very personal.
That block out.
That's
walk.
part of sport.
Just thinking of more.
Part of sport.
We talked about snake being there the other day. What if there's a snake lying around there in the stairs? What do you do
but
there?
that's not.
And that cannot be documented.
But that's not batters. This thing. No. If these are third-party conditions, like a light has gone off,
we've
something.
seen snakes and all.
Yeah, but
what if there's a snake there and the batter's like, okay, I'm not going to
so
set
then
out.
that he will be allowed to do that, because that's a third party involved. It has nothing to do with him.
So it's saying then you've got to specify all these conditions, because these things haven't happened yet.
Yeah,
what if they
that's
happen
why I
someday?
say you need to bring in the common sense.
Exactly.
The umpire needs to be like, I know there's a rule, but hello, these are unusual circumstances, and so we need to look beyond the rules. That's what he needs to do.
So Harit Yadav is asking, would 2 minutes pass by the time the strap had broken? I don't know. I've been seeing this doing the rounds on social media, but I haven't verified it myself, so I cannot.
No,
be
but
exact.
I think it wasn't. The appeal, if I'm not mistaken, only came after the strap was broken. By the way, I don't think he took any more time than any other batter. But if you actually, it'll be a good exercise. If you actually go on to see a few recent games, I'm sure you'll find many occasions, and I just a gut feeling, where it is more than 2 minutes. Just that you haven't seen a visible delay happening. So what you see is a player goes out, the other one comes out, takes guard and gets ready. So you don't appeal, nothing is taken into account, because it's happening in the normal due course. But what happens is a lot of time players walk slowly. Once they reach, they're bending, seeing the field, taking their time, adjusting their gloves. So I'm sure 2 minutes would pass in many dismissals that you see. It's just that the opposition captain does not appeal, because it seems to him normal course. Him walking out, taking guard, looking around, taking his thing, adjusting his thing, then observing, speaking to the non-striker, tapping the pitch, getting ready. This seems normal. We've normalized it. So I'm sure it's more than 2 minutes. But then the opposition captain is going to appeal, because here he came, did it, broke, and said, hey, bring the helmet. So you saw this, some delay happening. Now's my chance. Appeals.
Sharan says that it's not in the hands of Murray Rasmus or Illingworth. I think there are no rule makers. They're not rule makers, and they are just policing it. So they're just watchdogs.
We've discussed that. We've discussed it. But that's why I'm saying that's where common sense needs to come in. Like you mentioned, I mean, like tomorrow, as I said, the lights go off. There's a malfunction of the lights. Again, not the batter's fault as such, right? So will you look at the 2 minutes? No, the umpire, and the light comes, the umpire say, no, I cannot, because that's not his delay. That delay has been done because of external issues. So I allow him to continue. You're not following it just to the T. Here, though, I agree, this is his equipment, not a third party, his equipment. But then it did break in front of you. You have evidence to see that. Then why won't you allow it?
Shubham Gar says Shakib just dropped off from Mathews bowling. We would have seen a new version of Nagin dance from Mathews today. Shaky. Mathews would be livid. I just
And that drop, by the way.
Can I put a scenario in front of you guys? So this is Angelo Mathews. It's happened to him when he's playing. Angelo Mathews, comparatively much calmer guy. Reverse the situation. Angelo Mathews is a Sri Lankan captain. Shakib Hassan comes out, is given out in this fashion. Can you imagine how the Bangladesh team would react?
I am first
Wondered how
Shakib with the bat.
I'm
this
talking
time with the bat. With the bat.
Mushfiqur, Shakib, the whole gang. Can you believe how that would have been? Just try and reverse the situation.
He'd have broken all 6 stumps this time.
6 stumps, dressing room glass, a few other things.
Maybe the press box also.
I'm just wondering what the headline would read. Bat wielding Shakib Al Hasan loses the school, destroys the stumps.
Okay, KK is pointing out that during Inzi obstruction, Rahul Dravid was captain. Yeah, you may be right. Yeah. I remember Rena was the fielder. Yeah, I remember. He threw it from mid-off, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'll correct myself. That could be the case. Whoever. And my point is not to raise finger at any one individual. What I meant was that Indian team also did it, right? And Inzi was like that. And I also thought that was against this. I mean, I know you followed the rule. And I'm okay to disregard the spirit, like in Ashwin's case, because Ashwin had a point. Spirit can be whatever, but why should the batter get any advantage?
Any undue advantage.
Then you are trying to, it's fine.
Forget inches, even millimeters make a difference.
Yes.
Indian cricket fan would know that the best. We saw what happened in the 2019 semi-final. Matter of millimeters.
Exactly. So, in that case, it was clear that Inzi wasn't taking any advantage, which is why I thought it was quite bizarre. You could have.
Sachin Kashyap says that why Mathews is given timeout because of helmet malfunction, Bangladesh team must...
they used the rules for their own benefit. Yeah, that's pretty much what they did.
No, he's not given a timeout. As I just explained, that if his helmet has malfunction, that can have serious consequences. That time has to be allowed. Or otherwise, then play cricket the old school way, where bouncers were encouraged. Nobody really cared for helmets. There was no concussion substitute. We played like that. We evolved as a society, right? Which is why certain rules have come into the play. Or go back, where bowlers are allowed 6 bouncers. You could not care for a person's health or head. You know, you're an Indian fan. I mean, a lot of you wouldn't know. But Nari Contractor's career finished. That one Charlie Griffith bouncer finished. You were not very sensitive to those things, and go back to those rules. So you can't have double standards. On one side you're saying, no, we're very sensitive to this issue, we want to come across as a very evolved sport, and we as a society are evolving, so we need to come up with this. So then go that way or go this way.
Freeman also makes a very valid point. He says that this is not cricket then, and if you just have to go by the rules, then this is programmed stuff.
Exactly, which is what I think Rajdeep said, that somewhere you need that human element, right? That's why you have the umpires, and that they need to. Otherwise, have AI for everything. Just have AI robots, and then they'll just take calls based on whatever the rule is. But you don't have that
Yet.
Yeah. Ashi said not supporting Shakib, but 4th umpire mentioned that 2 minutes were over before helmet malfunction.
That's what I was saying.
No,
I'm not sure.
Yeah. See, while it may be over, but I just told you that then the 99% cases, the 2 minutes would be over. What prompted the appeal from the opposition captain?
The helmet breaking.
Exactly.
And that way, by the way, the only 2 batters who will probably never be timed out would be the openers, because they're the worst ones. Otherwise, everyone would be like...
Yeah. Okay, Nikhil says, why was it unnecessary? Inzi would have gotten out with that throw and he avoided his dismissal. Not at all, sir. Not
Actually,
at
no,
all.
he was outside of his crease.
Yeah, but gotten out as in he wasn't that far ahead. If you see, I remember that visual and I'll try and play it. We can't play it here. But it wasn't that, he was taking a undue advantage.
He was just directed at him the ball. Yeah,
he wasn't even going for a run. So what happens is, if you played, I remember it went to long off. He wasn't even taking a run, but maybe in his follow through he was a bit ahead.
The throw
and
came
then
at him.
yeah, he wasn't going for the run, and then he suddenly looked up and the throw was coming. So he was on his body. He stopped.
And you could see that he's just trying to fend the ball. He's just warding it off.
Exactly.
Like he wasn't trying to score runs of it or anything.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll revisit that. But that's my memory of that particular incident. Anyway, that's just an example. We're focused on what's happened today. Silence says, can a batsman come out with a broken strap in a test match to waste time on day 5 to save a test match? Yeah, but how much time will it save?
And he didn't come out with that broken strap. No,
Yeah.
the strap broke when he came out. If he came out with the broken strap, I remember that's why initially I was very critical of Mathews saying, as an experienced man, why the hell is he going out with a helmet that has a broken strap? Of all things, you're going out there. Then the visual showed that, he broke it. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Still though, I mean, unless Shakib chose to take back that review, no chance. That appeal, rather.
Any more? Shivam? Okay, in the next MCC meeting, all rules should be scrapped, which is thought of angst, the spirit of the game.
I think he means against it.
Okay.
Again.
No, but I'm also okay, spirit of the game. See, let's be honest, in today's day and age where winning and losing is so important and so many things are riding on a game, that spirit of the game be damned, it's okay. I'm even ready to go as far as that. But at certain places, you need to draw the line, right, where you're actually seeing the opposition not doing anything extra. Or, it could be as simple as, let me give you an example, like technically, if a batter plays the ball and lifts it and gives it, also can be handling the ball. It is technically that. So supposing I've defended the balls here, I can give it handling the ball. Now that's rule. But if I did it and you appealed and got me out, come on. Come on.
That'll happen next, wait.
But I'm just saying. So
we talk of pushing the envelope. Shakib might just do that next time. Who knows?
In fact, as KC points out, and this is what I was mentioning, is that Angelo went with a bit of a request to Shakib explaining why the delay, but Shakib smirked and said, talk to the umpire.
Yeah, he did that. That's what I'm saying. That is why I'm really pinning the blame on it. And this is an interesting question by Lalit. He wants to know, once Shakib appeals, does umpire have any right to disregard his appeal? No, he does not. You have to take the appeal into consideration. But the umpire, as I said, can then at certain point come in with an exception, saying that, listen, this appeal is not valid because I'm allowing him that thing, because it's a safety issue and I'm allowing him to change.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if he appeals, you have to pay heed to it and then take a decision. So you can't take it back, but here he can. I mean, there are times, there were times where the umpires used to have so much powers and players would listen to it. I give an example. It has nothing to do with a rule or spirit of the game or whatever. 83 World Cup, the final, often spoken about. Malcolm Marshall actually bowled a couple of bouncers to Balwinder Sandhu, the tail ender. And, Dicky Bird was the umpire. And he actually told him, what is this nonsense? I mean, you can bowl, bounce. That guy can't bat. You're trying to purposely hit him. For a batter, you do it as a strategy. It's understandable that you're going to mix up your lens, this, that, put him into trouble. That guy can't bat. So this intention of you bowling bouncers to him is clearly that you want to hurt him. So this is not cricket. Don't do this. And in today's day and age, the player will say, F off, right? Like, you're the umpire, I don't care, I'll do whatever. No, he acknowledged what Dicky Bird was saying. He wasn't very happy with it, but he didn't do it after that. So, umpires could actually drill some sense into the player who's playing and doing something. And he said that, if you want to use your skill, test it, do it against the batter. That guy, number 11, can barely hold a bat.
In
what are you trying to do?
In today's day and age, the batter will look at the umpire and he won't signal wide.
Yeah. So, I mean, times have changed, and I'm not for the one who's saying that, you have to be like Dickie Bird, or you need to do it. Okay, follow the rules, play according to that. We all come there to win a game, lose a game. All of that is fine. But sometime, just conditions have to be assessed, and the umpire then has the right to take a call. I mean, for example, a batter who's getting, now it'll happen, the next thing that will happen, batter is getting ready to bat. I'm telling you, if you're going to go down just following the rule, batter is getting ready to bat, he's like this, and okay, and the bowler is in the run up, something comes in my eye, and I go back, and the bowler bowls and hits the stump. What does the umpire do? The umpire says, no, dead ball. He pulled out, right? Tomorrow the bowler say, no, this is the rule. Once he was in his stance and looked up and he saw me come running and I'm ready to bowl. If something come in his eye, bad luck, dude. Too bad. Face me. I don't care. It'll reach that stage. If you're just going to follow the rule to the T, it'll reach that stage. But the umpire uses his discretion, right, which allows us and says no, dead ball. That he's not ready to face you now. We never know where it can go. So somewhere common sense needs to come in. On that note, we'll call it an evening. Indian team is rocking it. World Cup is now not about whether Indian team is the favorite to win. I think we've reached a stage where if India does not win a World Cup, it will be a massive shock.
I said after that England match that not winning the World Cup will be now a surprise for me.
Shocker.
I don't need us to play South Africa.
The bite that's gone viral is Mohammad Shami saying, "Dekha 400 banane wali team ka kya hal kiya." That's where they are. I don't think that's cockiness. I think that's confidence, and they deserve that.
It's well earned at this point.
Yeah. On that note, thank you so much, ladies and gents. See you tomorrow. Keep watching Sports Day. Plenty more coming up.